trust in your heart now. Be brave and awaken. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Sing it with me. We are the ones. Hey, we are the ones. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are
Those of us who are her children, who are putting ourselves in danger. And so sometimes when our children are doing things that are about to harm themselves, we have to shout and we have to say no and we have to do it forcefully. But we're not doing it because we're angry. We're doing it out of love and compassion and protection. And that's the spirit of no, and that's the spirit of this song that I like to bring. So I'd like to offer this song. It's called Dig Deep. I think you may have forgotten the power in your belly. I know that you have been held underwater, but I know that you're ready. I can see through it all. You've been hiding from the gifts you've been given. You gotta know now that this is your time. Dig deep to your wisdom. You've seen this coming in your dreams all along. You know what is needed. Holding your breath for the hint of the dawn, and know you can feel it. I think it's time to remember the power of the gifts you've been given. You gotta know now that this is your time. Dig deep to your wisdom. Reach out your hand into infinite dark, and Creator will catch you. I know it seems like you're killing yourself, but Spirit won't let you. I know it seems like the end of the world, but this is just the beginning. I see that this is the fight of your life, and you're already winning. Dig deep to your wisdom and shine. You are a healer, you're a weaver of worlds. Let the medicine move you. You are a vessel with a message from God. Just let it come through. Invite the worship for the goddess you are, and the courage that you're bringing. You gotta know you're a gift from the stars. Have faith in your vision, dig deep to your wisdom, and leap off the edge into infinite dark, and Creator will catch you. I know it feels like you're killing yourself, but Spirit won't let you. I know it seems like the end of the world, but this is just the beginning. I see that this is the fight of your life, and you are already winning. Dig deep to your wisdom and shine on, you beautiful daughter of mine, and we will light up this darkness. My love is driving my stake in the ground. May this moon be my witness. Ignite the healing in the hearts of the world, and it'll all be forgiven. I know we're none of us in this alone, but I need you, my women. These gifts we've been given. Dig deep to your wisdom and shine. This is an extremely gorgeous thing to be able to look at while you do what you love to do. So thank you to all of you. I would like everyone to come a little closer. Come on in. Gather round. Everyone come on in. Let's get cozy, shall we? We're going to get started with some speakers in a few minutes. I'd like to also welcome any elders. There's an elders tent here, so if anyone would like to grab a seat, that's open for you as well. I'm going to play you another song, if that's okay.
That little girl sometimes. Have you ever heard that story? I'm sure she is. Then there was a big
Service of what you love. This is a song called Hollow Wooden Box. Feel free to dance. Just the other day, I kissed the ground beneath me and I prayed. Where has all my courage gone? How come I can't hear my song? This is what the mountain had to say. She said, oh, the less that you carry, the less you'll need, yeah, the less you'll need, and no, the less that you gather, the less we'll leave, yeah, the less we'll leave, and no, the less that you weigh, the more the world will bring, the more this world will bring, yeah, 'cause everything I have ever wanted is here in this hollow wooden box, and these wound up metal strings, and this open, hopeful heart, and the little song it sings. Down to the ocean, my doubt in me. Poured it into a bottle and I sent it out to sea. How come I can't trust the flow? How come I can't let this go? This is what the water said to me. She said, oh, the less that you carry, the less you'll need, yeah, the less you'll need, and no, the less that you gather, the less we'll leave, yeah, the less we'll leave, and no, the less that you weigh, the more the world will bring, the more this world will bring, yeah, everything I have ever wanted is here in this hollow wooden box. These wound up metal strings and this open hopeful heart and the little song it sings. Myself these questions almost every day when I'm doing it right. This is what my spirit has to say. She says, oh, the less that you carry, the less you'll need, yeah, the less you'll need. And oh, the less that we gather, the less we'll leave, yeah, less of a mess will I leave. And oh, the less that you wear, the more that we will bring, the more this world will bring, yeah, cause everything I ever wanted is here in this hollow wooden box, and these wound up metal strings, yeah, this little open, hopeful, honest moment, yeah, and this little song I sing, this little song I sing, yeah, this open, hopeful, honest moment, yeah, in this hollow wooden box, these wound up metal strings, this open, hopeful heart, and the little song it sings, this open, honest moment, and the little songs we sing, the little songs we sing, the little songs we sing. Little songs we sing.
Actually has a music website now. It's karinakilling.ca. How's everybody doing? I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. How's everybody doing? All right, the first thing that's going to happen is everybody who's back there is going to move this way. Everybody move this way. Everybody who can hear me back there, tell somebody else who's behind you to come closer. All right, so there's some blankets up front if you want to sit. In particular, we've got space here for elders if you're looking for a comfortable place to sit. Speaking of elders, first of all, hi everybody. My name's Ben West. How are you? I want to introduce you to a friend of mine. This is Nimi Takar. I'm going to introduce her in more detail, but just in case you're wondering who's standing here next to me, we're your two MCs for the day. But before we get underway, it's my pleasure to introduce to you somebody who's really close to my heart, really, really lovely elder from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, Ta'a, Amy George. Are you around, Ta'a? Somewhere? While she's coming, I'll tell you a little bit about Amy George. Have you all seen those t-shirts that say, "Warrior Up, Ta'a said"? Who here's seen it? Few of you? Okay, well, she'll tell you more about it. Oh, thank you. Here's the t-shirt. Amy George is the daughter of Chief Dan George. She's the mother of Reuben George, and she's just a fantastic human being all by herself. Amy, or Halia, or Ta'a, which means grandmother, has been a really, really big part of bringing together First Nations and non-Native people in her community, and has really been a leader on the campaign around Kinder Morgan. She's had a huge impact on my life, and she's here to do a traditional greeting for you all today. I'm really touched that you could be with us here today, Ta'a. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben. Am I being heard? Okay. I want to welcome you all to our territory, our traditional territory. We're the Tsleil-Waututh people. We're called the people of the inlet. According to the archaeologist who did a study, our clan bads date back 30,000 years. We've been on that inlet. During that time that my people have lived in that area, we could drink water out of the creeks. Now they're so polluted, we can't even go stand in it. When the tide would go out, dinner was set. There was clean water, there was clean air, there was no endangered species, there was no endangered plants. We always had limited population, and if we took a life, we used all of it. My dad shot a deer, he'd use every part of that deer, the hoofs for noisemakers, the hides. I asked him, and what happens in the winter when your moccasins get wet? He said, we go to the seal, but they'd use everything where the seal would keep their feet dry. To see these tankers out here, there's so many of them up there right now, it's just so, it just hurts my heart, this whole thing, during contact, we got wiped out to 13 people. There were only 13 to Tsleil-Waututh people. And our nation is getting built up again. And as far back as I could remember, when my dad said they were going to put a dredge into this inlet and make the world's biggest seaport. And my dad said that's the only time I'd ever take up my gun if somebody says we're going to relocate the Indian. And I got very frightened because I was young then. Today I know exactly how he feels, because I'm a great-grandmother now. I'm not living here for me anymore. I'm living for my generations. I'm here for my great-grandchildren. I'm not saying I want this or I want clean water, I want this or that. My granddaughter said it to me best. She said, I want my baby to enjoy the water the way I did and swim in it and do ceremony in it the way she did when she was growing up. It's been years since we were able to even go into the water. We get rash on our legs, and that's to hear these two Texas billionaires, they want to dredge into our inlet. I wonder how they'd feel if I went to their property in Texas and said, I'm going to start digging here and I'm going to plant some things and some flowers and I'm going to set up my house right here. That's how it feels to me. This is my territory. I'm the people of the inlet. Or if I went anywhere, even if I went here and said I'm going to build a house right here or go in front of these buildings and say, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to claim this now. And somebody's living in them buildings. People are enjoying this park. Go to Kinder Morgan's yard in Texas, I'd be put in the crazy house if I did that on their property. But it's okay for them to do it because they're multi-billionaires. And not only that, these people on the tar sands, I walked the tar sands. It looks like a nuclear bomb. In fact, it would have been kinder to drop a nuclear bomb on Lubicon. During the walk, I saw we're walking what used to be forest area, and I saw 3 birds and one was dead on the ground. The people are getting ear infection, eye infection, throat infection, and cancer, and they're dying. I was taught when I was very little, my dad said, you take a fish out of the water, you killed something. If you cut down a tree, you killed something. If you shoot a deer, you killed something. And these two are able to go into Alberta and put up them tar sands. They're breathing carbon monoxide 24/7. They said, don't bath your baby no longer than 2 minutes in the water. It's that poison. And then they say to us when we start protesting them, they said the Indians are terrorists. Okay, well, you're a murderer. I saw this real nice quote just this morning. Only after the last tree has been cut down, only after the last river has been poisoned, only after the last fish has been caught, only then will you find that money cannot be eaten. That's a Cree prophecy. Sometimes when I talk at gatherings such as this, I say sometimes when I'm in my sacred ceremony in the sweat lodge, I say a prayer for Kinder Morgan. I say a prayer for his children, because they're going to be a part of this, which is definitely our future. What do you want in your future? What do they want in their future? They couldn't even live long enough to spend the billions that they have, and if they bring in them tankers taller than the tallest Vancouver building, they're going to be making $1 billion. They're almost making $1 billion a shipload now. They could never live long enough to spend what they already have. Why don't they put their money towards something sensible like solar or wind energy or something? There was a time in our history when the government was saying, nobody's dying, we're not killing anybody. There was a time in our history, in our recent history, and where they said, oh, it's not poison, oh, we're not doing bad things. And Kinder Morgan's rich enough to put these commercials on TV where it all looks fine and they're doing wondrous things for us. They're not doing anything for us. Only they're going to benefit, and they're going to bring the tankers to California. They're going to refine it. They're helping China, because China's giving them the money. So there was a time in our history, 5 million people were burned and killed and put in ovens. And they still said, it's okay, this is not happening. We're in the same place today. My people in Lubicon, my good friend Melina, when she tries to talk, her cousin, who's only 18, she died. Her mother has cancer, her father has cancer. They haven't drank their water for over 10 years, or since that tar sands happened, and this only for those 1%, that very, very rich 1%, they're the only ones benefiting from, they're making money on the deaths of our people.
Shame!
And the same as when that World War II happened, it's the same here, that we're getting the news, we're getting commercials on TV that Kinder Morgan are doing wonderful things for us. It's not for us, it's for themselves.
It's called propaganda!
When I first started talking, I felt something in my heart when I heard that they were going to dredge 50 feet into my inlet. And we had a gathering in our gym way smaller than this one. And a lot of my own tribal members were there. And I said to them, you know, there's a time when you got to get up off your couch and turn off your remote and turn off your TV games and stand up for something. I told my people that. Now I'm telling all of you, you guys, warrior up, for God's sake. I like this gathering because sometimes you'll be sitting at home and you say, oh, I'm going to stand by them, or I believe in what they're saying or what they're doing, but right here, right now, there's body presence, and I thank you. And I welcome you all here onto my territory. We were called, the natives are stopping progress. No, we're not. We're not protesters, we're protectors. We're trying to protect this. I thank you for your ears, and I thank you for listening to my words. I really, really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm not here for myself anymore. I'm here for my children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, that they'll have a better life than I ever did. Haichka, haichka. Thank you. I saw some people walking around with signs for and they have fish on there. I have a whale song. The whales used to come in and go up our inlet. So if you don't mind, I'm going to sing the whale song. It's sort of in the making. I'm going to sing it for the fish and the whales out there, that the whales will come back and trust us human beings with their lives again. Drum, please. Thank you.
Tamos tana whale. I kunish kwelowens kuns e kutsnala. Atli kunis qui. Eats humasquium. Lama kwai huikland eat Selena August unus ilash. I welcome you all to this, the traditional unceded land of the Musqueam people. We share this bay with our family that's Lilwatoth from just on the, I know where it is, on the North Shore. We're happy to stand together. We're happy to stand here with all of you. Nutsamat Tishkwelowitz. We are of one heart and one mind. Something else we can all say today. Stamichten. I am a warrior. We have been forced into the role of protector, where we used to be stewards. So I stand here and I say again, Stamichten. We're going to sing for you a paddle song from our family, Dominic Point. It was given to the Tsetsu Sakaya to sing to. This is part of our welcome, so Haitzepka for being here.
Yeah. From the Musqueam Nation. I have a message screaming in my head from our ancestors. I have a message for Prime Minister Harper. This land is not uninhabited. We've been here for thousands of years and we're still here.
So I want to start by acknowledging Coast Salish traditional, unceded traditional territory, the Musqueam Nation, the Squamish Nation, the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. Really touched today by Amy George's welcome and the Musqueam welcome and their fierce and passionate defense for these lands and waters. Own welcome on behalf of Mayor Gregor Robertson and the City of Vancouver. We have at least one other councillor wandering around in a hockey shirt. Councillor Carr is out there somewhere. And Nikki Sharma is with us today from the Vancouver Park Board to add words of welcome. It's an honor for us to stand alongside you in your fight, alongside communities up and down the BC coast, and today alongside communities across the country in saying no to Enbridge. Really long fight, and I'll tell you, to see you all here today, you do look fantastic and the crowd keeps growing, but you've been out there, rain or shine, wind, snow, sleet, hail. I have been involved in and seen pictures of rallies all over British Columbia, all over this country for years now, with people trying to get their voices heard, and those voices have only been growing stronger. You're fighting not just against a pipeline, but you're fighting for something. You're fighting for a sustainable future, sustainable economy, and a better, healthier world for our people and our communities. That's a fight that we share here in Vancouver. You might have heard we're trying to be the greenest city on earth by the year 2020. In just 5 years since we were elected, we've been able to reduce water use by 16%. We've been able to reduce waste by 40%. We've been able to increase active transportation by 10%. And our greenhouse gas emissions are down 4%. At the same time, we've been able to create thousands of new, good-paying green jobs in the city of Vancouver. Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion goes through, none of that will matter. In just 3 days of increased production-related emissions from that pipeline, new pipeline capacity, that will wipe out all of the gains that we have made on greenhouse gas reduction here in the city of Vancouver. And that's without even talking about the massive impact that would happen when a spill happens from that oil being shipped along our coastal waters. You might have heard Kinder Morgan say, don't worry, a spill will actually be good for your economy. That's not the kind of economy that we see for here in Vancouver. And it's why from day one we have stood up and said no to Kinder Morgan and their 7-fold increase of tankers through their new proposed pipeline. And we're in this to win it. We have all of the scientific and technical know-how that we need to build a sustainable future with good jobs that work for people and communities. What we've lacked is the political will from the province and the federal governments, but no government can ultimately hide from the people, and it's why it's so important that you chase them down and make sure that your voice is heard. Thank you for standing up for governments that stand up for you.
Hello, Vancouver! Woo! It's so great to be here with you all today. I'm a park commissioner, so that means that we're responsible for taking care of all these beaches and these beautiful parks and the park that you're in right now. And that's something that we take very seriously, and we've taken a stand against Kinder Morgan because we don't want to see that here. We don't want to see any of these beautiful places destroyed by an oil spill. Just wanted to say that your local government stands with you, and I'm here with the city and the park board to know that, and you guys should know that we're here with you. We care, we want this to stop, and we're very happy to see so many people come in so many numbers, so yay. Woo! I just wanted to give a special shout out because tomorrow is Mother's Day. To all the mothers here in the audience who want a different future for their kids, and they want to see a change in our ways instead of more of the same. So here's to all the mothers in the audience. Woo!
Thank you. Andrea and Nikki. Next we have Art Sterrett, who's the Executive Director of the Coastal First Nations, and he has been instrumental in ensuring that the voices of both First Nations communities and other communities are building coalitions so that our voices can be heard by government and communities and media. So I'll let Art tell you a little bit more about the work he does and talk to you a little bit himself. Art, thank you.
Wow, what an amazing gathering. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the Coast Salish, Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish and Musqueam, the original inhabitants who are still here and hold title to much of this land. Waisam, Simgiget, Sigadamananak, Lugigiget, Atagabawalsik. Chiefs, matriarchs, and all of you noble people, it is indeed my honor to be here. I am extremely humbled today. I've been on a path for about 9 years on the Northern Gateway Pipeline project. Coastal First Nations for many, many years now has fought this, but I think they would agree with me that this is the most amazing gathering that we've had in the last 9 years, and the timing couldn't be better, so thank you very much for all of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching D-Day, as we're calling it. The decision around Northern Gateway is going to happen sometime in June. 70 years ago, my father and my uncle, my namesake, and many of your fathers and grandfathers landed on the beaches of Normandy to fight for the freedoms that we all enjoy in this country. When we began this journey 9 years ago, it was all about a pipeline. It's become much more than that. It's now about democracy. We have seen a Prime Minister that has tried to dismantle all of the institutions that have been built over the last 150 years that respected the environment, that respected science, that respected our courts, that respected our politics. All of this is being destroyed by this government in the name of big oil. Coastal First Nations were approached by Northern Gateway 9 years ago and asked whether or not we would approve tankers in the Great Bear. It took us 3 years to come to a final decision on that, and we said at that time, after investigating technology to clean up oil, which didn't exist and still doesn't, and looking in Valdez, Alaska to find out that the oil was still in the ground there, with what we saw in the Gulf of Mexico, where they cleaned up 3% of the mess that they made there, what we've seen Enbridge do in the Kalamazoo, the Coastal First Nations declared a ban on tankers in the Great Bear Sea, and that ban will stay in effect forever, ladies and gentlemen. We said that no good could come of this project. And I want to remind you of a couple of the things that have happened over the last 9 years or so. Ask yourselves as I go through this whether or not our opinion, our learned decision about no good out of Northern Gateway was true. Since we began this exercise, very early on in the process, the Prime Minister silenced all of the scientists who said that this project was endangering the environment.
Shame!
They gutted every bit of environmental legislation that was in the way of these pipes. They gutted every bit of it.
Shame!
They took a joint review process, flawed as it was, and took all of the power away from them because these three individuals who really knew nothing about British Columbia couldn't be trusted to make a decision. And then they passed it on to a whole cabinet of people who knew absolutely nothing about British Columbia, and they'll make that decision sometime early in June. Was that a good trade-off or not? When we have a whole cabinet full of amateurs, why do we need 3 people to do that? So we've got some more good news for you folks. Coastal First Nations, Tsleil-Waututh, Haida, Heiltsuk, Haisla, all of these nations, including the Carrier and the Secondly, are going to be taking Stephen Harper and Northern Gateway to court once this decision comes out. Here's the other good news. Stephen Harper is pissed off the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and we haven't. It may be the biggest mistake that he's ever made. It seems like if anybody gets in Stephen Harper's way, he throws him under the bus. That's what he's trying to do to the Chief Justice now. Sheila Fraser did a bad audit on Harper. He threw her under the bus. The Chief Electoral Officer caught these guys with robocalling. Illegal electioneering processes which got this bloody government a majority that we're suffering with today. They did it illegally and they got caught, and Stephen Harper threw the Chief Electoral Officer under the bus. That's the kind of democracy we've got. Mike Duffy, he was so stupid to get caught. And for getting caught, not necessarily for doing it, but for getting caught, Stephen Harper threw him under the bus. Stephen Harper threw Pamela Wallin under the bus, not for doing it, but for getting caught. Stephen Harper threw Patrick Brazo under the bus for getting caught. There was one man that came along that still had a shred of decency left in Harper's office, Nigel Wright. He thought, it isn't fair that that Mr. Duffy steal this money from Canadians, and I'm going to pay them back. Stephen Harper decided that Nigel Wright had made a mistake and threw him under the bus. That's what we've got going on in Ottawa right now. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nobody left in the bus. They're all under it. And Stephen Harper is on his way out. That's what we've got going on. Enough about Ottawa. Alison Redford is also under the bus. She got caught with her finger in the cookie jar as well, so she's under the bus in Alberta. And Harper and his ethical oil guys, aka the robocallers, are supporting the Wild Rose Party in Alberta, and they're going to try and take over there as well. That's what we've got going around. I just returned from the capital of Canada, the capital where our Prime Minister comes from. I just returned from Calgary. I was at the Enbridge AGM. All is well. We told Uncle Al Monaco, the CEO for Enbridge, don't waste any more money on this Northern Gateway project. Mitigate your losses. You're not going to win this one. You're never going through British Columbia with this pipeline. Mr. Monaco later tweeted, he talked to a native leader who said he would meet again, so all is well. Likely no need to implement the AFERD report recommending building a strong relationship with First Nations in British Columbia. Al's talking to one native leader, has agreed to meet with him. All is going to be well with Northern Gateway. Keep investing. That's what they've got going. A little closer to home, all is well. The salmon are going to be safe. We don't need to implement Cohen, because Janet Holder has told us 15,000 times that this pipeline is going to protect salmon. Yahoo, baby! She's going to protect salmon. Pipelines protect salmon. Do we believe this crap or not? No! The people of Vancouver and the rest of this province better bloody well get ready, because Janet Holder has told us 15,000 times that pipeline routes are better habitat for caribou than the natural stuff that we've got, and they're going to be thundering down on Vancouver after all these pipelines are built. We're going to have caribou everywhere. Because Janet Holder told us 15,000 bloody times in the last couple of months. I got a couple more. I'm trying to control myself, is why I'm using paper. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a self-evident fact. Enbridge Northern Gateway has spent $500 million. Janet Holder, cute little Janet Holder. I look at her and I think about Stephen Harper and Maureen with that little panda bear in their lap. Janet is as cute as that panda bear that Stephen Harper and them brought over in order to consummate our relationship with China. I went to Norway with a group of people. Janet was along. Janet Holder has 15 at least 15 pairs of shoes. She changed shoes 3 times a day on that trip. This little lady that is going to save British Columbia, lives in Toronto, but is a British Columbian nonetheless, is going to save us, because this pipeline is going to save our environment. That's what we've got to worry about. Janet Holder is the Vice President in charge of Northern Gateway. To more serious things, Cristy Clark is in Asia, protecting all of us in our environment as we speak. She has taken a little walk down Harper Road. She has changed the Park Act to allow the pipelines to go in there and investigate. I wonder what they'll do when the investigation is over. Cristy, Clark, you better sober up if you think you're going in our parks. She has given the Oil and Gas Commission authority over allocating water. Well, this makes a hell of a lot of sense, because in order to move water, you either need a tank or you need a pipe. So I think that's probably about the extent of the logic that this provincial government had engaged in when they decided the Oil and Gas Commission was now in charge of water in the northeast and along the route. Can you imagine the logic and amount of intelligence that goes into making those kind of decisions?
None.
What next, Cristy? Are you going to roll over in Northern Gateway? Are the 5 conditions that you put out there just about ready to roll over? Because I'll guarantee you that First Nations aren't rolling over, and condition number 4 will never ever be met. So you will not research that. So Stephen Harper, Cristy Clark, Uncle Al Monaco, Janet Holder and your 15,000 ads, and Alberta, we're ready. We've been ready for a while. I'm getting sick and tired of waiting. I want them to come and try and bring that pipeline through this province. The Yinkadene, the Carrier Secondary, the Wet'suwet'en, the Haida, the Tsimshian, the Heiltsuk, the Nukjalk, and all of the rest of the First Nations in this province are going to stop them dead in their tracks. And ladies and gentlemen, something even bigger than all of that, and you represent that here today. These people are going to get a lesson in democracy that they haven't had in a long time, and they bloody well need it. So all of you are going to have your say, and these pipelines are going to sober up pretty damn soon. So ladies and gentlemen, this land that we call home, this land that nourishes us, we get all of our food off of it, we get all of our water off of it. This air that we breathe is some of the cleanest in the world. This water that we have out here connects all of the Coast Salish to all of the people up the coast, all the way up to the Haida. We're going to keep that clean. We're going to make sure that they clean up their act before they come knocking on our door again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for being here. I love every one of you.
Hard stare at everybody. How you all doing out there? Who thinks the Enbridge Pipeline's gonna get built?
No.
Wait, I can't quite hear you. Yes or no?
No.
Wait, sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Enbridge Pipeline?
No.
Okay, I think I heard you that time. In fact, I think they might have heard you in Ottawa, too. Hey, speaking of Ottawa, one of my favorite people from Ottawa is here with us right now. I want to introduce you to Libby Davies. You all know Libby Davies, of course. Opposition House Leader, Member of Parliament for Vancouver East, my very personal MP for many years, as well as Spencer Chandra Herbert. Y'all know Spencer? Of course, I want to recognize that we're in the Musqueam territory and Coast Salish territory, but I also want to recognize that we're here in Spencer Herbert's riding. You know, it's so helpful, of course, to have the support of people like Libby and Spencer. You know, when you're fighting some of the richest, most powerful corporations in the world and their friends in government, you need friends like Libby and Spencer. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ben. Well, I'll tell you, this is a great turnout today, and you all look fabulous. And I want to say a special hello to all the radicals, the adversaries, and the foreign puppets. You look like fine, upstanding citizens to me.
I also want to say thank you to the activists and the First Nations leaders who just very recently went to Calgary to the Enbridge shareholder annual general meeting. This was actually a very courageous and important thing to do, to make sure that those shareholders are getting the message from us, the people, that what their corporation is doing is not going to be allowed, won't be allowed to happen in British Columbia. So thank you to those activists and First Nations leaders who took the time to go to Enbridge itself and deliver the message. I'm here today just very briefly to bring greetings from the Federal New Democrats in Ottawa, the official opposition, our leader Thomas Mulcair, Nathan Cullen, who's been doing a fantastic job in BC, organizing and speaking out against Enbridge. He's been throughout BC organizing workshops. And for us, you know, we've been fighting this day in and day out in Parliament, and will continue to do that. But the issue here is about our democracy and our voice. And this rally here today, and the ones that are taking place across the province, tells me that we have unity, we have strength, we have motivation, we know we have the future of our province on our side. And so what we're doing here today at this rally to oppose this pipeline and the super tankers is so important. And it's really important that we keep the momentum going, because we do have to get that message through to Stephen Harper and the Conservative government that they're not going to ignore the people of British Columbia. We won't let them do it. So I want to tell you that we will continue that fight in Ottawa. We will continue it here in the community. And because of that alliance and that solidarity, we have the City of Vancouver. We have different elected representatives, my provincial colleagues who are also here. And this voice will grow louder and stronger, and it will become such an issue that even that Conservative government and even Stephen Harper, who is now so removed from what people are feeling and thinking in BC, that he won't be able to ignore our voice. I want to close by saying, because I don't want to speak long, you know, on Monday we had a truly remarkable activist in our city who died. His name was Bud Osborne, and I think some of you may have known him or you've heard of him. He was a great activist and hero in the downtown east side, and he was a poet. And his words inspired us for many struggles in that community and in our city. And so I thought today I wanted to look at some of the poetry that Bud wrote. And he wrote a great book called Raise Shit, which kind of says it all, and that's what we're doing. And so I wanted to read a few lines from his poem called Raise Shit. He says, "There is a planetary resistance against consequences of globalization, against poor people being driven from land they have occupied in common and in community for many years. We have become a community of prophets, rebuking the system and speaking hope and possibility into situations of apparent impossibility. Our words and actions of resistance and comfort and commitment like mountains." Thank you, everybody. Stay strong.
Libby Day. And thank you to all of you for standing up for our planet, for standing against an oil-filled coast, for standing up against Enbridge. Thank you to the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, the Squamish for having us on their traditional territories. And thank you for standing with us, for all of us together, to say no to Enbridge, to say yes to a climate that sustains us all, to say yes to a planet that will be there for our children. My name is Spencer Chandra Herbert. I'm the proud MLA for Vancouver West End. On behalf of all the people in the West End, we say thank you for standing with us against Enbridge and against oil tankers polluting our coast. This beach, this Sunset Beach where we stand, Just imagine 150 years ago, before colonialism took over, before we had these buildings, we had trees the size of these buildings. We had salmon runs like the salmon runs you've seen, echoing and moving, swimming through the crowds. Incredible fish, incredible shellfish here before the pollution took hold, before the need for profit took over the need for love of the nature, before our relationship with nature. We decided, and the economy decided, that domination was better than the love of nature, decided to dominate the environment than to have a relationship. We need to get back to having a relationship with nature, not a domination of nature. We are here today to stand with the North. Do you stand with the North? Do you stand with Kitimat? With Terrace? Hazelton? Smithers? Prince George? The entire First Nations communities all over the North? You stand with British Columbia? Yes! John Horgan, my colleagues from the Vancouver, David Eby, Jenny Kwan, Shane Simpson, George Heyman, the entire New Democrat caucus from all over BC, they stand with you as well. Because we know we must move from being just defenders of our coast, defenders of the climate, to fighters for our coasts, to fighters for the climate. That's how we will achieve victory. That's how we will tell Enbridge. That's how we will tell Stephen Harper and Cristy Clark that we say no. This is our coast. We will not let this pipeline pass. United with solidarity, with love of our climate, with love of our communities, we will beat this pipeline together. We will beat this climate change together. We will build this province together, one that we can be proud of for our children, our children's children, on into the future with resilience, with balance, to learn the lessons that we did not learn when colonialism took over, to bring back unity, to bring back resilience. Let's do that together. It's an honor to stand here with you today. We will win this fight. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Spencer and Libby and the official opposition for sharing their thoughts. You know what I want to talk about with you guys for a minute? People keep saying that in our generation, in my generation, that we don't care about politics, but take a look around. Today, there's so many young people here. And I just want to give a quick shout out to an organization where I got politicized and where I learned about environmental issues that are important to me, who's here today, the Canadian Federation of Students, who has taken a very strong position against the Enbridge Pipeline. And now it's my pleasure to stand with Ben and introduce a young activist who's even much younger than I am. It's Kate Hodgson, who comes from the Kids for Climate Action, and we just want to tell you that today is Kate's birthday.
Now, I gotta say, I'm really, really impressed with this person. This is by far the biggest crowd she's ever talked to. So I think she looks a little nervous, but you know what? I just heard Kate speak in Burnaby last week, and I thought she was the best speaker there. And when people asked me what important people were speaking here today, I said Kate. So without any further ado, please welcome Kate Hodgson.
There you go.
Sure, the biggest birthday party I've ever had. So my name is Kate, and I'm a grade 11 student at Kitsilano High School. I'm here today because I grew up in a family that taught me, above all else, that I should care about other people. And it wasn't until 2 years ago, when I took an environmental studies class, that I learned that climate change was hurting people all around the world and will only continue to do so. When I learned this, I was scared, and I was angry that the Harper government didn't seem to care about the world that I would be inheriting. And one day I was talking with a friend about this, and she looked at me and said, "Kate, you can't even vote. It's not like there's anything you can actually do about climate change." What? And I realized in that moment that I didn't have the choice not to. I am a kid, and I know I can't vote, but I am a member of the generation that is going to have to face the consequences of the bad decisions that our government is making today in failing to address climate change. And that is why I work for Kids for Climate Action, and it's why I'm standing here in front of you today. The Harper government is trying to make it sound as if the Enbridge Pipeline is the only path to prosperity, as the Enbridge ads have put it. But we, as Canadians, have a right to a sustainable economy, and we practice that right when we oppose the Enbridge Pipeline. Because when we say no to this pipeline, we are saying yes, yes to an economy based on renewable energy. Yes to a secure future for all Canadians. Yes to reducing our carbon emissions for the sake of those who do not have the means to protect themselves from climate change. And that's why we're not stopping until Enbridge packs up and goes home. As of now, the BC provincial government, municipal governments across the province, 49 out of 50 First Nations communities, the municipality of Kitimat, and 2/3 of British Columbians have all agreed that the Northern Gateway Pipeline is not a project that we want on our coast. And the NEB has recommended that it be approved anyway. They're trying their very hardest to ignore us, but are they going to shut us down? No! I am so inspired by every single one of you here today. This fight has been long, and it has been hard, and it can sometimes feel like Enbridge is winning. But I am still betting on all of you. And you know why? It's because Enbridge has never managed to get 5,000 people out on a cloudy Saturday because they all thought that the Enbridge Pipeline was a really great idea. And that is because they are fighting for selfish gain and putting the risk on others. But you are fighting for your children, for each other, and for our world. And to any of you who doubt that we can stop this pipeline, just look around for a second. I can see thousands of people right here, right now, that aren't going to let the Northern Gateway Pipeline get anywhere near their province. big checkbooks, but we have big hearts. They have lobbyists, but we have determination. Woo! The Harper government may think that they've got the last call on this project, but we, as British Columbians, have already made our decision, and that decision is no. Thank you very much.
Idea to sing happy birthday for Kate without us suggesting it, which was awesome and very grassroots of you, but I think we could do it even better than that. What do you think? All right, who's ready? All right, everybody stretch your vocal cords. E-A-I-O-U. No? All right. Ready, everybody? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kate. Happy birthday to you. Up shirt for Kate, if he's out there. All right. So that was a tough act to follow. Luckily, you got a great person coming up next. Next up is none other than the MP for Vancouver Quadra, Joyce Murray from the Federal Liberal Party. For anybody who doesn't know, Joyce was one of the first people when there was a minority government. It was a really important vote, a really big moment, and if we'd had the chance for that to go through without an election, we might have actually stopped Enbridge dead in its tracks a long time ago, and you could all just be out surfing right now or something. So I'm really glad that we've got Joyce with us here today. Thank you so much. Please give a warm welcome to Joyce Murray.
Wow, what an awesome crowd. Congratulations. So 4 years ago, when I was working on my tanker bill to stop tanker traffic in the North Coast, I think the group on the lawn would be the size of the demonstrations. So it is just awesome how much work has been done and how many people are out there and taking back the commons. So congratulations. So I also want to acknowledge Kate. I mean, the dedication and the courage of young people that are taking up the challenge to defend our coastal waters from tankers and from pipelines is heartwarming, but more than that, it's necessary. So the kind of diversity that we see here, and of all kinds, diversity of age and every other kind of diversity, is what tells the rest of the country that this matters to British Columbia. You know, Enbridge had a lot of money on this issue, and this money could have been spent finding out what people actually think in British Columbia. It could be spent talking to Aboriginal communities and hearing from them. But what it was spent on was advertisements and lobbying. So when I looked at the lobbying records for 2010, which is the year that I was working on my bill and touring to talk to people in communities from Courtenay and Campbell River up to Kitimat and up in the north, that was the year that Enbridge had 49 different registered lobbying visits on Parliament Hill. And these were not visits to just one person. These were visits of a group of lobbyists with whole groups of ministers and parliamentarians. And I want you to guess how many lobbying visits from the environmental community happened that year. That's it, 0. So we have built our forces. We need to recognize the very important work that was done in those early years by some of the pioneer organizations, like Dogwood Initiative, for example, and others, Forest Ethics, West Coast Environmental Law, and others, to help bring this wave of support forward. So the Liberal Party is firmly against tanker traffic and the Enbridge, the Northern Gateway Pipeline. So we support this fight. And as you know, in my leadership campaign for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada, I came out against all pipelines. And I've been working with my leader, Justin Trudeau, who recently said to the Board of Trade a very significant statement. What he said is that governments can grant permits, but only communities can grant permission. So let's keep working on this, folks. Let's take back the commons. Thank you for all your work, and thank you for the work of the organizers. Enjoy a great day.
All right, so you've been listening a lot. So I think it's time to do something a little bit more interactive. Does that sound like fun? All right, so we got kind of a crazy idea. So before we do it, Nimi and I are going to demonstrate. Sound good? Yeah? You all have to make me feel like you're a little bit more excited than that. Thank you. All right. So have you guys all seen these things? The blank is better than Enbridge signs? So the reason we're doing that is because, you know, there's this idea that we have no choice but oil, that we have no alternatives to oil, that there's nothing that we can do besides oil. So we decided that to give people a voice, we wanted to do a campaign where we gave people an opportunity to say what they thought was better than oil. And for a lot of people, these became funny. They became like, you know, lint in my pocket's better than oil, or my dog's poop is better than oil, or my kid's diapers is better than oil, which is probably true. But we wanted to give you an opportunity to send a message directly to the Prime Minister and the Premier. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Who here has a smartphone in their pocket? A whole bunch of you. Wow, less of you than I was expecting, though. Let's see those hands again. Who's got a smartphone? All right, there you go. I knew there was more of you than that. You guys are all very shy. Okay, so Nimi and I are going to show you what we're going to do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a selfie. See this one? It says, selfies are better than the Enbridge Pipeline. And you all are going to be in that selfie. Are you ready? Put on your best face. The Premier might see this, all right? This is very serious. All right, everybody say, no Enbridge. No Enbridge. Awesome. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do, and you're going to do all of this too, all right? We're just going to demonstrate, is we're going to shoot a little video. Does that sound like fun? All right, so I have no idea what we're going to say, and neither do you, so we're all in the same place here. But we're going to shoot a little video, and then when we're done doing that, you all are going to pull out your phones, you're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to post all of those on Facebook, on Twitter, and you're going to tag the Premier and the Prime Minister, and they're going to get 1,000 messages all at the same time. Does that sound like fun? All right. Your video will be kind of like this. Ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Here, we're going to move the microphone. Here we go. Switch into video. Don't forget to switch to video. You'll just take an awkward picture of yourself. All right. Here, let's turn this way so we can see some people. All right. Ready? Okay. Hi, my name's Ben.
I'm Nimi.
I don't like the Enbridge Northern Gateway Pipeline.
Neither do I, or other students or young workers.
And the reason I don't like it is because we could do so much better.
There's alternatives.
You know, like, there's more people right now working in solar power in the U.S. than there is in coal and gas combined.
It's time for the Prime Minister to take action.
So, you know, Mr. Harper, if you could, like, not do that pipeline thing, that'd be really great. Clark, you know, the government officially came out against the pipeline. If Harper tries to push this thing through, will you stand with us and do everything in your power to stop it? Thank you.
Love Nimi and Ben.
Bye.
Bye.
Does that sound like fun? Pretty easy, right? You don't have to be as...
not being done. Okay. So the Harper government and Cristy Clark's government, they're moving ahead. They act as though burning of fossil fuels has nothing whatsoever